Hello, everyone. We are starting, I believe, week 5, unbelievably. Chapter 5, week 5. We're getting going with that. When you see this, you would have taken the first test. Hopefully, all went well. Again, with the test, focus on the homeworks, right? The homeworks and the stuff that we did, and especially the study and review in the back of each chapter. Okay, here we go. So we're starting chapter 5, integumentary system. So we talked about atoms, making molecules, making cells, making tissues, tissues making organs, and organs making organ systems. Okay, so here's our first organ system, the integumentary. We're talking about the skin, hair, nails. That's what we're talking about, okay? So again, this is not an anatomy physiology class. It's kind of an overview, and we're looking at the words, okay? But it really helps to have something to reference, okay? So let's take a look. Right, so what are the goals, the learning outcomes? Describe the integumentary system and its accessory structures. So skin is the biggie, and the accessory structures are hair, nails, glands. Functions of the skin, terminology, analyze, build, spell, pronounce medical words. So there's a really big section that talks about disorders of the skin, and I want you to look at it, and maybe what I'll do is I'll have a little list of the things that I'd like you to know, because it is pretty exhaustive. All right, drugs highlighted in this chapter, so things to help with skin, diagnostic laboratory tests, and some abbreviations. So all right, so let's take a look. The integumentary system, right? So it's composed of skin and its accessory structures. So hair, nails, sebaceous glands, sweat glands. All right. So what is the function of the skin, right? So if we think about it, it's protection. The major function is protection. If you think about like what's under the skin, well, under that there's fat, under that there's muscle, under that there's bone, there's nerves, there's blood vessels, but the skin itself is for protection. Now, not only does it protect, it does other things also. So it says, external covering of the body, largest organ. Skin is considered an organ because it's made out of different tissues. There's blood, there's nerve, there's connective, there's fat, different tissues. So it is your largest organ. Sometimes that is a little trivia question, right? Supplied with blood vessels and nerves, forming function, protection. Protection is the first one that you'll probably remember. Regulation, right? Skin is involved with cooling you off, right? Warming you up, right? Sensation, of course. You have a lot of nerves associated with skin. Touch, pressure, pain, involved with skin. And finally, secretion. So whether it's sweat glands or oil glands, those are found in skin, and your body can release excretion, right? Release things through those glands. Okay, so those are the 4 main functions of skin. So protection, right? Yeah, you have layers and layers of cell protect you against bacteria, other harmful agents. Think of like caustic agents like acids, bases, whatever. Against mechanical injury of delicate cells located beneath the outer coverings. Definitely protection. Inhibits excessive water loss. So if someone gets burned, one of the biggest issues first is losing water. Right? If you've ever had a burn, rug burn, let's say, and you see the fluid coming out, well, your skin protects against losing water. So when someone gets a burn, first thing is water loss. Second thing is infection. They worry about that. All right, reservoir for storing food and water. There's fat under our skin. It guards against excessive exposure to the sun, helps producing vitamin D. Yes, you do need sun exposure, yeah? And you make vitamin D in your skin. Regulation to lower body temperature, right? If you're working out, if you're hot, what do? You sweat, okay? So cooling through evaporative cooling, skin's involved with that. Raising body temperature. Well, your blood vessels under your skin can constrict and help the warm blood stay inside closer to the body core. So that will help with keeping you warm. So body temperature, definitely. Sensation, of course. The skin contains millions of microscopic nerve endings for pain, touch, heat, cold, pressure. Specialized, okay, yeah. If you took physiology, we get into the different types of neurons involved with perception or different types of things there. Secretion. Skin contains millions of sweat glands, right? For perspiration, sebaceous glands for secrete oil, okay, for lubrication. Now this table shows the parts of the skin, and it's really hard to just see a table. It's like, what the heck are they talking about? Okay, the skin itself can be divided actually in 3 layers. The book says 2. There's the epi on top, epidermis, that's the top here. There's the dermis, that's the main layer of the skin, and then there's under it is the hypodermis. So here's this table. I'll come back to it, but I think it's really helpful to see a picture. Here's more of the table, blah, blah, blah. Here's some FYI. But here's this picture. Pictures are super duper helpful, okay? Let me go there. Okay, so epidermis, okay? So all those layers that we're talking about in the table is in the epidermis. And they're called the strata. Strata, those are the layers of the skin. So way up top is the stratum corneum, okay? And then here at the bottom, right? So stratum basally, so here cells are being made here. So mitosis or cellular divisions occurring here. And the cells get pushed up. As they get pushed up, they die. And at the top here, these are all dead, flattened cells, okay? If you've heard of melanin, that's what gives your skin color. There are cells called melanocytes, if I could get my pointer back. There are cells called melanocytes that release melanin, that gives us our color. There are cells called keratinocytes, they release keratin. And way up here, these cells are keratinized, so they're full of keratin, they're dead, they help like kind of be waterproof, okay? So here's the epidermis, okay? Cells replicating, and then over here, by the time they're at the top, they're all dead, okay? Now here's the dermis. This is the thickest part. And if we look again, a picture's worth 1,000 words. There are blood vessels. There are nerves. Here, hair follicles. Here there are glands. The sebaceous gland, that's going to release oily substances for lubrication. Here are the sweat glands. That's going to release sweat, which has water, which has salts, okay? And then over here, this says subcutaneous layer. Some books say, well, hypodermis, okay? If you've ever heard of hypodermic needle, right, going under. And if you look, this is full of adipose. This is fat. Oh, it's not labeled here. There's fat here, and then the blood vessels and nerves. So this is a cross-section through the skin. Now, if I go back to this, okay, it says epidermis, stratum germinativum, stratum spinosum, stratum granulosum, stratum lucidum, stratum corneum. Stratum corneum is the top, outermost horny layer, consists of dead cells. Cells are active in keratinization process. So here, way at the top, right, what you touch is the stratum corneum. And as we go down, that's the layer of the epidermis. So here, if I go back, stratum germinativum, sometimes it says basally, some books say that. Let's see, innermost epidermal layer responsible for regeneration of epidermis. Okay, melanin, the pigment that gives color, is formed in this layer. Spinosum, the cells start changing. Granulosum, lucidum, that is found right in certain areas. And then corneum's the top. Dermis, Okay, that's the thickest part. And then all of this stuff here is what's associated, right? So hair, nails, sebaceous glands are the oil glands, okay? Lubricate the hair. Sudoriferous, those are the sweat glands, secrete sweat for perspiration. Just some FYIs, kind of really neat about babies, but even before babies, right? So what is their skin like? So if you're talking about fetal development, so here it says it has downy lanugo, hair begins to develop. And then here the skin's reddish wrinkled. And then they talk about newborns. Layers of the skin, right? The epidermis and the dermis. So that's what we talked about. Here are the different layers that's in the epidermis, right? The stratum corneum being up top, germinativum. That's new for me. That's on the bottom. So we're talking about this layer. Okay. Dermis, right? That's this whole area right here. That's the dermis. Sometimes the corium or true skin composed of connective tissue containing lymphatics, nerves, blood vessels, sebaceous sweat glands, elastic fibers, hair follicles. Attached to underlying structures. Okay. Dermis, papillary layer. Oh yes, reticular layer. The dermis itself is divided into 2 layers. You don't have to worry about that too much. See this light pink stuff here? That's connective tissue, so it helps connect stuff. Hair. Okay. So again, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Here's the hair. The hair is really an outgrowth of skin. Okay. And if you look at down here, right there's blood vessels giving nutrients to the hair cells, and the hair grows and gets pushed out. Okay, here, this is all dead cells, okay? Down here, these are living cells that are reproducing. And if you look, there are nerves going to that. So if someone pulls your hair, it hurts. Ow! Okay? But if someone cuts your hair, it doesn't hurt when they cut, because over here, this is dead. But over here, these are live cells and undergoing mitosis. So, hair, okay, thread-like structure formed by a group of cells that develop within a hair follicle. Hair is composed of a shaft with a visible, that's the visible portion, the shaft up top. The root is underneath, right? Y'all know that. There's capillaries, right, in the root, okay? Pilomotor muscle, also called the erector pili muscle, attaches to the hair. So you know when you get cold and you get goosebumps, there are actual little muscles, okay, right here, attached to the hair follicles. So when you get cold, they contract, and that's gonna whoop, cause your hair to stand upright, right? Yeah. Hair around the eyes, nose, ears serve to filter out foreign particles. Yes, you know that, right? Your eyebrows, your nose hairs, they have a function, right? Your eyelashes, they have a function. Again, filtering out, protection, getting rid of foreign particles. So here's a cross section again, and then with the different parts. Now nails, again, they are like an extension of skin, okay? Again, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So here down here, this is where the cells grow, and then they get pushed, and then of course over here they're dead cells. So same type, similar type of how your skin grows, your nails grow. And again, the cells here are full of keratin. Keratin is a protein. That's what makes your nails strong. If you look at this picture right here of your finger, yeah, here's the bone. There's fat, right? Fat pads. Here's the nail on top. Okay, here's the lunula. Lunula, it's like a half moon, right? And there's growth that is occurring there. Okay, I'm going to stop here, and then we're going to have another video in just a second.